Welcome to Easy Driver, the most reliable source of automotive information on YouTube. When it comes to your car's health, a bad alternator bearing can be a telltale sign of trouble. In today's guide, we're delving into the process of diagnosing a bad alternator bearing. Join us as we uncover the symptoms, sounds, and methods to accurately diagnose this issue, empowering you to address it promptly and keep your vehicle running smoothly. How to diagnose a bad alternator bearing. Is your car making strange noises? One possible culprit could be a bad alternator bearing. Diagnosing this issue early can help prevent further damage to your vehicle's electrical system. In this post, we'll discuss the signs of a bad alternator bearing and the steps to diagnose this problem. Understanding these symptoms can help you address the issue promptly and avoid more extensive repairs down the road. What is an alternator bearing? The alternator bearing is a crucial component of the alternator. It is a set of steel balls or rollers held firmly within a metal ring, which allows the alternator shaft to rotate smoothly and efficiently. These bearings are responsible for reducing friction between moving parts, thereby enabling the alternator to function optimally. Importance of the alternator bearing. The alternator bearing plays a pivotal role in the overall functionality of the alternator. It is instrumental in maintaining the smooth rotation of the alternator shaft, which, in turn, facilitates the generation and transmission of electrical power to the vehicle's battery and electrical systems. A faulty alternator bearing can lead to increased friction, heat, and wear within the alternator, ultimately resulting in decreased performance and potential damage to the entire charging system. Therefore, the proper functioning of the alternator bearing is essential for the reliable operation of the vehicle's electrical components. Signs of a bad alternator bearing: unusual noises. If you start hearing a grinding or whining noise coming from the front of your engine, it could be a sign of a bad alternator bearing. The noise may get louder as the engine speed increases, indicating an issue with the alternator bearing. This can be likened to a squeaky wheel that needs attention, and ignoring it can lead to further damage. Electrical issues. A failing alternator bearing can also lead to electrical problems in your vehicle. If you notice dimming or flickering lights, especially when you're using electrical components like the radio or air conditioning, it could be due to the alternator not functioning properly. It's as if the heart of your car's electrical system is struggling to keep up with the demand. Engine performance problems. An overlooked sign of a bad alternator bearing is a decrease in engine performance. This can manifest as difficulty starting the engine, stalling, or even a dead battery. It's like the power source of your car is struggling, affecting how the entire system operates. By paying attention to these signs of a bad alternator bearing, you can address potential issues before they cause more extensive and expensive damage to your vehicle. Diagnosing a bad alternator bearing by visual inspection. When diagnosing a bad alternator bearing, start with a visual inspection. Look for any signs of wear, damage, or excessive play in the alternator pulley. Check for metal shavings around the alternator or any visible wobbling of the pulley when the engine is running. These visual clues can indicate a potential issue with the alternator bearing. Listen for noises. Another method for diagnosing a bad alternator bearing is to listen for specific noises coming from the alternator area. Pay attention to any grinding, whining, or squealing sounds while the engine is running. These noises can be indicative of a failing alternator bearing and should not be ignored. Hey there! If you like what you're seeing, drop a comment below. A thumbs up if it's hitting the spot, and don't forget to share with friends who might dig this, and hit that subscribe button for more. Using a stethoscope. Using a mechanic stethoscope can help pinpoint the source of the noise from the alternator. Place the probe of the stethoscope near the alternator and listen for any abnormal sounds. By isolating the alternator, you can confirm whether the noise is indeed coming from the bearing, helping in the accurate diagnosis of the issue. Keep a keen eye out for any visual abnormalities such as wear, damage, or excessive play in the alternator pulley. Listen attentively for any strange grinding, whining, or squealing noises while the engine is running. Utilize a mechanic stethoscope to isolate the source of the abnormal noise coming from the alternator. Testing the alternator bearing. Every vehicle owner knows the dread of a failing alternator. Your car's functionality heavily relies on its alternator, but diagnosing issues with it will save you time, money, and frustration in the long run. Testing the alternator bearing is crucial in assessing the overall health of your alternator. Below are the key methods to perform this vital diagnostic. Load testing the alternator. When diagnosing a bad alternator bearing, load testing is an essential step. This involves using a load tester to evaluate the alternator's ability to function under stress. By supplying an artificial load to the alternator, you can assess whether it can handle heavy electrical demands. If the alternator struggles or fails to function under this pressure, it may indicate a faulty bearing. Using a tachometer. Another method to test the alternator bearing involves using a tachometer. This tool measures the rotation speed of the alternator's pulley. By assessing the speed at which the pulley rotates, you can identify any irregularities that may point to a failing bearing. A well-functioning alternator should maintain a consistent and smooth rotation, while a bad bearing may cause noticeable fluctuations. Checking voltage output. When diagnosing an alternator bearing issue, it's essential to check the voltage output. An alternator with a good bearing will consistently produce a stable voltage output. However, a bearing in poor condition may cause fluctuations in voltage output, indicating an underlying problem. By using a multimeter, you can measure the voltage output and identify any irregular patterns that may signal a failing alternator bearing. These diagnostic methods provide valuable insights into the condition of the alternator bearing. By utilizing load testing, a tachometer, and checking voltage output, you can effectively diagnose a bad alternator bearing, ensuring the continued smooth operation of your vehicle. Diagnosing a bad alternator bearing is crucial for maintaining the health of your vehicle. By paying attention to the warning signs and carrying out a thorough inspection, you can prevent further damage and costly repairs. If you notice any unusual noises, such as grinding or whining, coming from the alternator, it's essential to address the issue promptly. Remember to consult a professional mechanic for a comprehensive diagnosis and timely replacement of the bearing to keep your vehicle running smoothly. Regular maintenance and vigilance can go a long way in ensuring the longevity of your car's alternator and overall performance. Thanks for joining us as we explored the signs and diagnosis of a bad alternator bearing. Identifying this issue early on can save your vehicle from potential breakdowns and more significant damage. Stay tuned for more valuable insights into maintaining your vehicle's health. Remember, being proactive in diagnosing and addressing issues ensures a reliable and smooth-running car. Safe travels. Please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe for more automotive information like this. Thank you for watching.